Hey everybody, Ray here. If you've watched some of my older videos, you probably have had a chance to see my old studio desk, which looks like what I'm going to show you now. It was really confined, didn't have enough space, and at some point I said, you know what, I just have to make myself another one. So that's how I arrived at this. This studio desk here, with everything that you see that I put together, cost a little over $400, which is a great price for a nice studio desk. And this is 30 inches by 6 feet wide, so it's a big platform to work off of. You can do this desk a whole lot less expensively if you want to do so. For example, instead of doing the white monitor stand that I have in the back and the speaker stands that I have on each side, you could make those out of the same piece of plywood that you made the top out of. So you'd make the whole top, the speaker stands, and a monitor stand for about $65. And you could have it all cut for you at Home Depot, so you don't even have to have a table saw to do that. So I'm going to show you both ways, because I originally was going to go with this concept, and then I decided after I went to IKEA to get the drawers, which was part of the original concept, that I really liked the stand that I use in the back for the monitors. So I kind of wound up spending more than I expected to, but I got great results. So if that has an interest to you, stick around. And don't forget, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe. So we're going to build ourselves a nice new desk for my little home recording studio. The first thing I did was to go over to Home Depot and find a nice flat piece of 3/4 inch sanded and finished birch plywood. I had them cut that 6 feet by 30 inches. I'll have some left over that I'll be using to make some stands for both my monitor and my speakers, and I'll show you that later. Next thing I'm going to do is take some 1x2 and I'm going to finish the edge of this with some 1x2 edging, and I'll show you how I do that. So the first thing that I'll do is take my 1x2, stand it on edge, and I'm going to cut one end of this at a 45-degree angle. Next, I brought my board back over and I just laid it on top of the desktop here, such that I know that this is right on the angle where I want it to be when I put it on the edge. Then I clamped it just to hold it, and then what I'll do is come back over to the other side and I'll mark that edge of the board, and I know that's where I want my inside cut to be. So you can see that I've got that angle now cut such that it's perfectly, the inside is perfectly flush against the edge here. Now when I cut my next board, it should fit very tightly against this with a nice tight gap here in the 45. Now we have all of our boards cut here. Here's my end boards here, and they all fit at a nice 45. And what I've done is to take this first board and I've run glue along the top edge here where it's going to fit down against the side of the top of the desk. So we're going to spin that around like that. I've just got some masking tape holding it temporarily. And then what I'll do is make sure that my ends are lined up and that it's flush with the top here. So I'll start at the very end, make sure that this is lined up here, it is flush on the top, and I'm going to put a brad nail right there. Okay, I got a good edge there. So what I'll do is make sure that this is flush all the way down by adjusting it with my hand, and I'll continue to put those brad nails in there. If you can see, you've got the unfinished piece of plywood here that doesn't look very good. But when I add this edge on there, that is really going to make a difference and how that side looks. So we've gotten all of our 1x2 edging on here, or facing you might call it, and I think you can tell it's already looks really nice with that edging on there. When I had them cut the big sheet of plywood down to the 6 foot by 30 inch piece, that left me with one piece here off of the end of the board that's 4 feet wide, and because I've already cut some of it off, it's about 24 and 7 inches wide. So what we're going to do next is we're going to make a platform that's going to sit up. It'll be 4 feet wide. I'll go ahead and use the whole 48 inches. It'll be 4 feet wide, and it'll be 10 inches high off the desk. That'll give me something to put my monitor on and whatever else I want to put on there, and then room underneath for other things. In addition, we're going to have 2 boxes on each side, 1 box on each side that I'll put my speakers on. So my speakers will be ear level, which is where I want them for recording. So this will be 10 inches deep. My speaker boxes will be 10 inches square that I'm going to sit my speakers on. So the first thing we're going to do is rip this down to 2 10-inch pieces. Now I want my monitor shelf to be 10 inches off the surface of the table. At least the gap will be 10 inches. Then you'll have another 3/4 inches for the plywood for my monitor to sit on. So the monitor will actually be 10 3/4 inches off of the desk. So I want 2 10-inch pieces to fit under my 48-inch piece. What I've done is put my handy little repetitive cutting jig on here because I want to make sure that both of those uprights are the same size. I'll reference how to make one of these up above. So when I had all the pieces cut for the speaker stands and the monitor stands, I simply put them together with pocket screws. So that's what it looks like from the underside with the pocket screws. And then when you flip it over, that's your monitor stand. I did the same thing with the speaker stands. You can see that the speakers, as I planned, are a little taller than the monitor stand. And again, they're just held together with the pocket screws underneath. I kind of got myself to an intermediate state here, if you will. And my plan was to put 2 small drawer units, one on each side below this desk. But the problem was I started this back in March. It is now the middle of June, and the pieces that I wanted from IKEA, the small drawers, are just now back in stock. So meanwhile, what I had to do was to construct this 2x4 base and then put this on top of it. And this will be relatively close to the height that it will be when I put my drawers underneath here. Then here are the speaker and main stand monitor stands that I showed you how to make. However, when I went over to IKEA to pick up the drawers, I actually came up with an idea, at least for this piece, that I think will be superior to this design. So you're going to have 2 options here. You can make these yourself out of the plywood that's left over when you make your top, or you can use this other shelf module that I found with some drawers in it that I think is going to work out pretty well. So you'll have a couple of options as to how you do this. We're going to proceed on. I'm going to make the drawers that'll go under here from the IKEA store, and also make that top thing. I'm not going to take you through that. You don't need to see how I put IKEA stuff together. Just trust me, it's a bit of a pain in the butt. But we'll get that done, and then I'm going to bring you back and show you what it looks like with those drawers under there, as opposed to having this temporary 2x4 stand that the desktop is on now. You can see here the pieces that I bought from IKEA. This is the Alex drawers. This is the EKBY shelf. And then I added a set of the cabinet legs underneath that shelf. You can see here the EKBY shelf before I put the legs on it. I also added 3-inch casters to the bottom of the drawers that I bought from Home Depot. At over $9 a piece, the wheels turned out to be a little more expensive than I thought. And then I went on Amazon and bought taller legs for my speakers. So I've completed assembling all of the IKEA pieces, 2 sets of drawers on each side. These were $79 a piece. And then this is actually meant to hang on a wall. So you'd put braces underneath this and put it on the wall. But instead, what I did was I bought 4 of these stainless steel legs that are actually meant to go under cabinets. But I thought that would work really well here because I can put my monitor and so forth up here. I've got extra storage and I've got room underneath here to be able to slide some electronics devices if I need to. This came together pretty well. All I really had to do was to take this top off of that temporary stand I made with the 2x4s and put it on top of here. And I showed you the pictures where I added wheels under here. So I can actually move this in and out if I need to change anything with the structure back there, or if I think I need to brace it up a little bit more in the future. I mean, it's pretty sturdy. I don't think I'm going to have to do that. But I've got the wheels underneath there so I can move it in and out, and it also put it at the perfect height for me to be able to use this desk. And then, of course, I had already installed the drawer for my keyboard under here so I can pull that out and use it when I need it. So I decided to use a white board here that would match this shelf board for my speaker stand, and use stainless steel tubes or legs, which would kind of match the stainless steel legs that I have under this little shelf unit. Now this board here, I think it was about $5. I'll supply all the costs. I think this was about $5. I picked it up at Home Depot. It was 24 inches long, 8 inches wide, and it's that nice shiny covered material. And then I bought 2 sets of these tubes. Each set had 4 tubes, so 4 legs for each speaker unit. And this is what those tubes look like. And there's just a little bit of a trick to put these on this board. So I'm going to show you how I did that. So when you get these tubes from Amazon, the base part here, or the part that you're going to connect to your shelf, is screwed on here. So you've got to take that screw out in order to be able to put the screws into the base to hold it onto the shelf. This shelf measures 8 inches wide, and then I cut them 9 inches deep. My speakers are actually about 6.5 inches wide and 7.5 inches deep, so that allows me a little lip around there, around my speaker, as well as if I got bigger speakers, I'd have a platform that they would still fit on. Now, the problem here is that if you put this on here and then you try to screw the leg on there, it's not going to screw because this just spins inside of that little plate that holds it. So what you need to do is get yourself a little bit of masking tape. Shouldn't take much. And then just fold it over itself so you've got something sticky to put on the head of this screw. So now that's stuck to the screw and it'll stick to whatever I put on there. And then I'm just going to take a washer. I'll put that washer right on the head of the screw like that. So what that's going to do is now it's going to take that space up here. So when I tighten this down, this screw will be tight in there and it won't spin when I try to put the tube back on it. Now the second thing I did was I'm using number 8 by 1/2 inch screws here, and you don't even need to drill these in. All you have to do is take a small hole punch, and I've marked where my holes need to be. Just take your hole punch, get yourself a little start there, drop your piece on, make sure that it's straight as you can get it in there. Take your screw. I'm using my driver to do this. Be careful, you don't want to strip these screws out, so just do it gently when you do it. It doesn't have to go in there very tight. Then once you've done that, you just use that hole punch and do the other 4 screws, and then you'll screw that leg right back on there. That leg fits on there nice and securely. So we'll do that 3 more times, and my other speaker panel is done here. Well, there you go. Another completed project, and I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out. I hope this video was helpful to you. If it was, don't forget, hit that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video. Thanks for watching.